Welcome to the Spectre Ballistics C-71 slash Spectre Ballistics chassis 1022 overview. Now, I'm going to be doing an overview and I'm going to be doing a review. No first shots for this. It is basically just a 1022 overall with an updated chassis and a lightweight receiver. So reliability really shouldn't be a problem, but I'll probably run about 500 rounds through it just to get a feel for the chassis. I'll use a red dot, I'll use a scope and test a couple different configurations. So, I am taking my stock 1022 receiver, putting that aside. I'm using the Spectre Ballistics receiver, which has a pick rail machine to the top. It's got its own barrel lock here. I am using just a standard Ruger 1022 trigger pack, but I have the enlarged magazine release that will go with these magazines, which are just Ruger 1022 mags, rotary mags that are stuck on via some 3D printed pieces. This is from my i3 Armories chassis kit that I have, which I still have. I'm never selling that because I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to get it again. But I think these will look kind of cool with this chassis. I'll be using just a standard A2 grip because I don't have any other non-beaver tail grips that will work on this. And standard bolt and charging handle, and the Facts and Firearms 1022 pencil barrel. This build should be incredibly light. I'll weigh it at the end, or I'll put the numbers up on screen at the end of how much it weighs. But if you want to know how to put this all together, you can go to Spectre Ballistics YouTube page. They will show you very easy step-by-step guide on how to put it together. It's not difficult. I'm just going to cut here. I'm going to come back with the full rifle assembled, and then I'll talk more about it there. All right, and the rifle is assembled. Now, the main differences in the way I'll be testing, one will have a red dot and the foregrip. The other will have the scope I used on the Savage 64 and a bipod. That's really it. So, in terms of, it's not really long range testing because the barrel doesn't come with the receiver set or the chassis. I guess it would be more accuracy deviation, right? Is the chassis keeping up with my other rifles and all that? And I think it'll be fine. You have the one, here I'll remove the magazine. You've got the traditional receiver screw here, but you also have one here and here that goes through the rear trigger pin hole. So you're keeping it in double locked, so nothing should move. Now, I do have some gripes already. And the first one has to do with the barrel. Now, it says it accepts any Ruger 1022 barrels. And I believe them, but this is extraordinarily tight. Specifically, this little overhang here makes it extraordinarily tight. I had to use lubricant, not like CLP, but like just regular lubricant, just to get the barrel on here, which I never had to do with my other 1022 on either barrel, but this one I had to do. The Faxon firearm one was a little bit thicker than the stock 1022 barrel, so I had a bit of a harder time, but it is something to keep in mind. You will need either a vise or a pair of pliers or something to try and angle it into the barrel hole. The other thing is I really am not sure. Like, it's fine. This, the receiver bolt pin at the back here, you see it's being held in by the receiver. It's actually quite loose. Um, Without the chassis being here, that thing would go wild. Like, it would not hold on. So if you didn't have, like, if you had some kind of chassis where it didn't go up to the receiver pin, the C-71 receiver, you literally wouldn't be able to use it because the pin would be too loose. And the other thing, this isn't really a gripe, more just an observation. There is a fuck ton of space below the barrel here. This is like free float times a million. To be fair, this is a pencil barrel, so it's kind of exaggerated, right? If you had a really heavy barrel, this would be able to fit. So that's a plus, but it is worth noting it does look a little goofy from the top angle if you have a pencil barrel. And stock installation was fine. This little piece for the trigger here is fine. A2 pistol grip is fine. Aside from that, it wasn't that bad. Now, thankfully, these magazines work. Right, it's just a standard rotary magazine. But this little extension is kind of interesting and also, like, not right. It's a weird look, but I kind of like it. I mean, I'm not going to take these off because they're a pain in the ass to install, but it's definitely interesting. It kind of looks like a paintball gun a little bit, honestly, but it does fit and work well. It's an interesting look, I think, to say the least. Now, this scope, as I have it here like this, I will need a new riser. These are low profile rings and they just barely work. You can get it to work with like this, it's high enough, but like just barely. I think having standard riser rings or canted mount on any scope would be much preferred. But yeah, that is it for this overview. Like I said, I'll have the review. That might be a couple, 2 to 3 weeks away. We'll see how I get out to the range. I'll be quite busy. I got school and then I have my move coming up. So I'll do my best to get out to the range to get some shots down and get some reviews in. But until then, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you soon.